Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Minimalist Gourmet, where today I'll be teaching you how to make larb. That's right, this spicy pork salad that's very popular here in northern Thailand is absolutely delicious and one of my favorites. If you've never had it, this is the perfect time to try it, and if you've had it before, well, you know what it's all about. So let's get started. As always, I like to jump right into the recipe to not waste your time. Today is going to be just a little different as we need to go over the ingredients before we get started so you can see exactly what we're working with, as this recipe takes mere minutes to actually cook. For team aromatic, we have about 4 to 6 shallots that I've sliced up nice and thin, along with 2 to 3 stalks of green onion, again sliced up small, one small bunch of cilantro that I've diced fine, and about 5 to 6 mint leaves I've cut into strips. Additionally, I have some whole cilantro leaves and some whole mint leaves that we're going to use to decorate our plate at the end. This is khao, which is simply some sticky rice that's been toasted and ground fine. It's going to add a great crunch as well as a nice toasty kind of popcorn flavor to the dish. It's also going to help thicken our sauce slightly. This should be readily available at most Asian markets. However, if you can't find it, you can actually make it yourself. You can simply take a handful of sticky rice, toast it in a dry pan over medium heat for about 10 or 15 minutes until it's nice and golden, and then grind it up in a mortar and pestle, blender, or coffee grinder. For heat, we'll be using some ground chili flakes, and traditionally this dish is rather spicy, but of course you can adjust that to your own taste and liking. We have some ground black pepper, traditionally white pepper's used, nothing special here, just use what you have on hand, it'll be okay. Now, for sweetness, we'll be using palm sugar. This has a tremendously rich, deep flavor to it. If you do not have this available to you, you can absolutely use white sugar. However, if you can, I would recommend using demerara sugar over white sugar, as I think it more closely represents this. For salt, we'll be using fish sauce, and this is available at every Asian market that I've ever seen. As a matter of fact, if it's not available at yours, you should probably pick a different market. And for acidity, we have the juice of one lime that I've squeezed out into a cup. And last but not least, we have about 8 to 10 ounces of ground pork. I've got a little bit of oil in here because my pork was pretty lean. And surprisingly enough, this is the only thing that we need to cook. So we're going to put this over a medium heat and use our spatula to break it up really well as we begin to cook it. Now, you want to actually cook this until it is just done. You're not going to put any color on it really. You certainly don't want to sear it off or anything. You want to cook it until it's just cooked through and no more. So once your pork looks a little bit like this and is just nice and lightly brown and an even color, you want to go ahead and stop cooking. So once you see this, you're good. Go ahead and take it off the heat, and we're going to go ahead and mix in our shallots. You want to do this immediately after you pull it off the heat so that the heat from the pork and the pan will kind of soften the shallots here. So go ahead and give them a good mix and let them sit here for a couple of minutes as we go ahead and assemble the rest of our dressing. To begin our dressing, we'll add in 2 teaspoons of fish sauce. Once again, this is going to add our saltiness component to the dish. 1 tablespoon of our khao, toasted rice that we're going to add in, followed by the juice of our lime. We want to mix this in very well early on so that it can start to form together and thicken up a little bit as we move on. Again, it's very important that you understand what each of these components do so that you can change them and adjust them to your liking later on. If you need to add more salt, more sweet, more acidity, that is the game that you're going to play with this dish. This recipe will absolutely produce a wonderful, wonderful larb, but if you want to make any adjustments, you should be free to do that. Put in the rest of our aromatics here, our green onions, our chopped cilantro, and finally, our chopped up mint leaves go in. We're going to top this with just a couple of dashes of ground black pepper. Our sweet component goes in. That's going to be about 2 teaspoons of our ground palm sugar. And for our heat, we're going to add in about 2 teaspoons of our red chili flake. Now, of course, if you don't like heat, you can certainly leave this out, but it is traditionally a fairly spicy dish. Go ahead and give everything a real thorough mix here, and we're going to let it sit for about 3 to 5 minutes so all these flavors can melt. Now it's been about 3 or 4 minutes here, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a taste and adjust my seasoning as necessary. I think this could use just a touch more salt, so I'll put a few more drops of fish sauce on it. And I really like heat, so I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more of the crushed chili flake. True story, the lady at the night market down the street that we frequent actually calls me Spicy Spicy White Man because I love so much heat in my food. We're going to add in these seasonings, give everything a nice thorough mix so that everything can integrate together, and we're going to go ahead and give it another taste before we finalize this. I think I'm going to call this aroi ma, or very delicious. Traditionally, this is served on top of a bed of cabbage leaves. You can place the pork inside of the cabbage leaf, roll it up, and eat it sort of like a miniature egg roll. And kudos to Thailand for creating something that's like 98% ground meat and calling it a salad. I think that is absolutely excellent. And as I serve it here, take note that the dressing is firmed up nicely. That rice has soaked up all of that lime juice and fish sauce, so there isn't just a lot of loose liquid at the bottom. That is exactly what you want to see. Now, as far as toppings go, you can add in anything you'd like, maybe some extra sliced limes, a little extra chili flake on the side, some sugar, some extra fish sauce. I really like to just top mine with my chopped up cilantro leaves and my whole mint leaves. I think this is perfect. And guys, it really is just that easy to make this delicious dish at home. I really do want to thank each and every one of you for your time today. I do appreciate it. I really hope you try this recipe out, and if you do, please let me know how it goes in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Thanks so much, and I hope to see you all again here real soon on another episode of Minimalist Gourmet.